We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore.
Ahoy! Welcome back to the show. It's been a while, but it's not the end of the world, right? Or is it? I just saw a knock at the cabin. Roland, you also saw a knock at the cabin, and this was M. Night Shyamalan's latest foray into the horror genre with, I'm gonna just spoil it, no twist at all. I watched this movie.
That's the twist.
Is that the twist?
The twist is no twist.
This was a movie based on was it a novel or a graphic novel?
Yeah, so it was actually based off of a 2018 novel, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul G. Tremblay.
Okay, so here's the thing. The title kind of gives it away, and I guess that's why they had to change it for the movie. The idea is that these four people show up at a cabin that this gay couple and their adopted daughter are, I guess, renting for the weekend or something.
It's like an Airbnb situation.
It's like an Airbnb situation.
Yeah.
Real modern novel, in fact, because there's Airbnbs in it. So these four people show up at your door and they say, hey, one of you has to die. We're going to leave that up to you. And if you don't, the world's going to end. And every time you say no to to which one of you is going to be, or who are you going to kill them, we're going to kill one of ourselves. And then something crazy is going to affect the world, like the 10 plagues. It's going to be a real fun time. It wasn't a long movie.
Can I ask, why did they feel like they needed to die?
That was part of the issues with the movie, is a lot of this is not explained. Really, there's no reason for a lot of the things that happen other than the world is ending and they have to stop it. And so they use the stress of, okay, we got to act fast to be like, we don't have time to explain. And sometimes that works. In this case, I was like, I would have liked to see a little bit more of the explanation. I would have liked a little bit more insight into why all this was happening.
So it was kind of giving like a four horsemen motive very early on. Just that sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have kind of a new and improved Four Horsemen, which I got a kick out of because personal reasons. But it was interesting. It's definitely a Christian apocalypse, very Revelations type stuff, where it's talking about there's going to be a giant flood that kills everybody. And then there's going to be a disease and there's going to be this and stuff like that. And they just kind of associate each horseman with different aspects of humanity rather than the actual names. So how they explained was that there's malice, nurturing, healing, and guidance. Those were the new four horsemen because those are the personality traits of humanity, which is kind of a play on of malice, war. We have nurturing, which was famine. And then healing was pestilence or plague, whatever you want to call it. And then guidance, of course, is death.
It's not exactly what I would assume those words to mean. But
yeah, so that's why it's its own little, dare I say, twist.
Well, but that's the thing. As they said that, it was one of those real clumsily done things of and I guess no, they are the four horsemen. I was like, don't tell me the plot device. Don't, because I wasn't big Jew here, so I'm like, I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, and so then they're like, I don't know, but he spelled it out, and I was just like, that's just clumsy.
Well,
so
they wait till the end because honestly, I got an idea, but I didn't understand their connection with it. So I appreciate them explaining the healing and the nurture, the different sides.
Okay. Are we allowed to spoil it at this point?
We've already spoiled it, my guy.
Well, let me give you a little bit more, because I have no idea why A, it has to be a gay couple, B, why it has to be this gay couple, why it has to be Rupert Grint. His character was why does he have to be in two situations? I don't see any relationship between any of these themes at all, and I don't understand what the whole sacrifice our love. None of it meant anything to me. I didn't learn anything.
Can I answer this?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that is a common trope that happens in the movies, is that one of the dads, I think Andrew, is constantly saying, this is prejudice. You guys knew that we were gay, and that's why you've come here. And they go and talk about the story of like when they were at a bar, they were actually attacked because they were gay. And then it turns out the man who attacked him at the bar was actually the horseman Malice. And that was done for one, and I'm going to get back to the whole family thing. That was done to kind of plant that seed of, okay, how are they all going to be connected? Because that's what I thought.
Well, I thought so too, but like his name was Redmond, and I'm pretty sure it was just
That's
a red
his nickname,
herring.
though.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was a
Yeah.
it was a red herring,
So-
so that you thought, oh, it might not be real, but like,
Exactly.
wasn't.
Exactly.
I
Because
didn't see this movie, but my biggest question from what you guys are describing is the why of the movie. Like, if the world is coming to an end, why can't they just die with the end of the world? Why do they have to die earlier than the apocalypse? That doesn't make any sense to me. Are they being sacrificed for like saving?
So yeah, hold on. Let me get into that too, because I do want to
Okay.
finish this family thing, because that
Yeah.
is a very repeated question that happens. It's made purpose that it's like all a coincidence. Like it's just a family. It's supposed to be any other family. It just had to be a family of three.
Mhm.
It's a trolley problem. Which one of them is going to die? It can't be an accidental death. They can't kill themselves. It has to be a willing person that has to choose to die, which is kind of a theme that happens in the Bible. There's that classic story of, I'm terrible, I don't remember his name, but he had to prove his faith, he was going to kill his son.
Abraham.
And it kind of, yeah. I always got the feeling that it's supposed to be kind of like, this has happened before. This isn't the first time in history that this has happened. But the why is a really good question, because I keep asking myself, what would happen if the horsemen didn't kill themselves, first off?
Yeah, and we didn't get to see that,
Yeah.
so we don't know the stakes there.
Yeah, we only hear what they're telling us, because it's a mainly monologue thing. The only flashbacks we ever get really is from the family. So the horsemen, we just hear okay, they've had these visions. How does this work? And I think that was supposed to be another level of we're supposed to doubt them. But the problem is, with an audience, you're believing everything that comes to you, because we can completely understand a fictional world and the threat of the end of the world situation. And, the family this is their reality. So of course, why would they believe them?
Yeah. To answer your question, Angelina, though, I like M. Night Shyamalan's movies a lot. I saw Old. I like that. Sixth Sense is a classic. I like the Unbreakable trilogy. I'm generally, I know he runs hot and cold for people. This one, I felt myself through the whole movie, just being like, okay, but why? And I don't think your answer would be. I don't think you would get your answer if you saw the movie. That's my big criticism. Is why and what's
That's
happening.
frustrating.
It's
Yeah.
so not his best work in my opinion. But I will say Dave Bautista really did impress me as an actor in this. And if for no other reason, if you want to see a good performance, an unexpectedly good performance, he actually really brings it. Everyone else, not so much.
Really? I love the dads. I thought they were great.
I thought they were horrible. I
Really?
didn't. Yeah, I found them wooden and unbelievable and just flat. I did not like them a little bit.
Really? I got a kick out of them just because it's kind of one is more level-headed and the other one has a temper, and that's supposed to be established. And I genuinely believe they did care for themselves. I found it weird that they avoided any physical contact, but I think they did that on purpose for a lot of homophobic audience.
Well, there's also a pretty daring attempt to have the religious mythology and religious ideology and this modern, relationship, and to put them into one. That's ballsy move.
I mean, but isn't that I feel like people come in contact with that every day.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
so I
absolutely
think that's
true.
probably a big reason. I mean, eventually they're gonna have to discuss it on screen.
Yeah, yeah. So this
So
was an interesting way of doing it.
M. Night Shyamalan actually compared this movie to his 2002 movie Signs. Did you guys see that movie? Can you see
Also
the
not one of his
connections?
best.
That's
Okay,
fair.
so that's what he compared it to.
Did he explain any further, just besides just like the vibe?
No, he just compared it to, somebody asked him like, what would you compare this to in your previous works? And he said I feel like it compares very much to the 2002 Signs.
Mhm.
It wasn't a very long comparison. It was
That's fair.
quick. He doesn't really go into it. But if you've seen the movie, can you see the connections?
They both kind of left me feeling about the same way. I could say that.
I feel like his movies always kind of leave me feeling some kind of way. Like his last movie was the 2021 Old. That definitely left a lot of questions. And I feel like
liked
his
that
movies
movie.
kind of give you. No, it was a good movie. I was actually shocked too because I'm one of the Naked Brothers band's kids
Yeah.
was in it, which made
Oh
me
my
laugh.
gosh, I can't
Yeah.
believe that's
Well, let's wrap this up and just
Yeah.
say I love when M. Night Shyamalan puts himself in his movies. He has a really fun cameo in this, and he'll do all these different. We've already spoiled everything else, so here's one more thing that we're just gonna ruin for you. It's basically a bottle thing, a bottle episode. So everything is happening in the cabin or right outside the cabin, and so the only way you could introduce an M. Night Shyamalan cameo is through the television. And so he puts himself on a cooking show and is talking about how to make fried chicken.
it's like this
good.
infomercial type thing. But to
Yeah.
conclude this review, I do want to say this movie was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. I think the big problem is that this whole movie it's a trolley problem, and that's good, but that's all it is. There's not really a lot of story. There's not too much of a narrative. There's this little piece that honestly would have been good as like a short film rather than a full feature.
Okay. And then, would you guys say that you would recommend or pass this movie? Because based off of Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, tomato meters at 68%, audience scores at 64%. It sounds like the audience is feeling just like you were feeling. The top review on Rotten Tomatoes says Knock at the Cabin is not the thriller you're expecting, for better or for worse. So, would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. There's nothing really compelling you to see this, except I think Dave Bautista did a really good job.
Yeah.
His acting is on point here.
I would say this is a Netflix one.
If that,
watch,
yeah.
watch.
Oh, that's
It's-
kind of
it's a-
bad.
It's a streamer. It's not a total pass, but I don't know if I would watch it at the
It's
theaters.
not go to the movie theater and buy a ticket.
Sorry.
Well, if you have
I hate
happened to
saying
see it, or you are going to see it, and you agree or you disagree, let us know in the comments. We'll be here talking about other stuff, more movies, more shows, more things happening in the world. Like and subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll see you here next time.